Today I'm joined by Zina Sadeq, Director at Amicus Therapeutics. She started in electrical engineering before discovering pharmacovigilance, bringing logic, safety and systems thinking into patient protection. We talk about ethics over shortcuts, honest teams under pressure, women finding their voice and the future of drug safety. From shared failure data to practical AI. Let's dive in. Hi Zina, welcome to Moments with Molly.
Hi Molly, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I think what we'll do today, we'll go straight into the questions, and I always like to start at the beginning. So can you share with me where your journey started and what inspired your career in pharma?
Thank you. So my journey started almost 21 years ago in the pharma industry, and it was pure coincidence. I just needed a job near where I live because I was a new mom for my first child, and a job came, like actually sharing between two departments, and I fell in love with pharmacovigilance, which is drug safety, and I just invested all my energy, all the learning in it, and here I am now.
Here you are. So before pharma, did you study that at uni?
Yes, so actually, I'm a very completely different professional. I'm an electrical engineer. So I have a bachelor in science in electrical engineering, and I was actually teaching before I moved to the UK, teaching programming and some of the engineering softwares as well. And moved on into working with private companies, representing them to the local government, again in engineering as well. So I never had any experience with pharma companies before.
Yeah, I was going to say you wouldn't usually put those two together.
Correct. Actually, everyone, listens to me and they think engineering and pharmaceutical company is a bit different. Um, but it is connected in some way.
What would you say that common thread or purpose is that ties them together?
So for us as an electrical engineer, definitely we look into the safety. Everything is about safety and how we can get electricity to end users in a safe and efficient way. So it's exactly the same way that we do in pharmacovigilance. The safety of our patients is the first thing we think about, and then efficiency as well, how we get things faster to make sure patients have access to our products in a safe environment and making the most out of it without any wastage and the benefit for their condition. So that's how I looked into it. It's the same principle but different tools.
And do you think having experience of both backgrounds gives you a new kind of way to look at solving problems?
Definitely. Engineering is all about logic and mapping and thinking, deassembling things and then reassemble them in a nice way and more effective way. So that helped me a lot when planning and with teams as well, management, project management. In addition, it's IT everywhere now. So with my background, it helped me a lot with the any database or electronic system that we are using now. It's easier for me to learn and actually ask the questions for the programmers to adapt it to the way that we need it in our company.
You're probably a really nice glue actually between the teams because you'll have an understanding of both areas as well.
Actually, I would love to, believe that, yeah. But sometimes it gets too much. When you know too much, you get more responsibilities without taking away the original responsibilities.
Yeah. So, if we're going to go back to your early years, when you moved to the UK, were there any defining challenges or barriers that you faced?
So accepting me in the workplace, of course, because I never had any experience here, and I moved here when I was 24, so I was an adult, and the language, luckily, my language was okay, and I was able to speak, read, write fluently. But to find the first job was a challenge. And then the biggest challenge for me was that the workplace where I started, it was a male dominant place. I was the only female there. And that was the challenge for me. I didn't know how to deal with the situation there.
And were you conscious of being the only female there?
Definitely. At the beginning, with my nature, I would love to chat to people, but I noticed that after a couple of days, I said few words and they made, it made them laugh. And I didn't know there are some male jokes that I wouldn't understand. And I'm new into the country as well, so I don't know the culture here. And that actually made me very cautious about what I say and how long I stay in the conversation as well. So I tried to withdraw and stay and do my job and try not to socialize that much.
So, how did you start to build up confidence, especially in those situations where you didn't necessarily feel comfortable?
It was actually a turning point when I moved from the team that I was working in the first job. The owner of the company identified that I'm an engineer. So and he could see or read, the room that I was not comfortable there. And so he moved me to a room actually that is used only for meetings, and I was alone there. So he gave me a little bit of breathing space and gave me actually a completely different task. It's about management, so like project management, and I finished it within really short time, and he was really impressed. But then I found a different job, and that's actually it's a receptionist. But because I'm a receptionist and with female around me, a lot of, my colleagues were all female, and I felt so comfortable talking to men from different backgrounds. Not only, from Britain, they are, some immigrants as well, different language, trying to get to understand them with sign language actually, because I was working in a college for teaching English and maths. So it's really nice. And I felt so comfortable with them. And that what built my confidence.
And how has that changed your kind of view of belonging now and how you approach building teams and interacting with others in a workplace?
Actually, when I look into the CVs, I just don't look whether this is a male or female. I just go with the experience. I want a good person working with me, and I look into that if they fit to the culture. In my workplace, we're so fast paced, and I need someone that is like able to deliver and to move from one place to another, like mentally, without complaining. And I'm there all the time for them. So when I recruit, I always make sure that this person feels comfortable to come to me. And I always remind them, I've been there and I will never treat them the way I've been treated by, certain people. I want them to feel comfortable and safe to come and talk to me. So, and then I'll decide whether it's, this person. And actually, sometimes I don't know if this person is a male or a female because the name is different until I see them face to face in an interview. And that's how I go with just the knowledge and the experience that I'm looking for.
And do you think, going back to that first experience where you were kind of made to feel a bit uncomfortable, that could be one of the factors which might lead to more males being in senior positions because they're more likely to stay in companies and almost have that instant click?
Yes, agree. Male, they have this. Sometimes I don't know if it's seen as arrogance, but it's not. It's their nature. They say I can do anything. Just give me this. While us female, we always overthink things. We always think, okay, am I fit to this? Even if you have done it before. It's just because it's a bigger company or a bigger team, we always doubt ourselves. And our anxiety is up, up, up. For men, it's easier for them and they don't care about the feedback. Yeah, okay, I'll take it. yeah, let's get on with it. We overthink things, and that is
I can relate to that.
negative.
Yeah.
Impacting us negatively in the senior roles.
hmm So, from the perspective of females, what do you think? Because I can completely relate to everything that you've just said. What can we do to almost push past that internal barrier of maybe the anxiety, maybe the way that we talk to ourselves in terms of feeling like we shouldn't belong there or we don't deserve to be there?
For me, how I dealt with it, it's very weird. I put myself out. I just registered myself with any invite that comes to me to talk publicly, and I will go and present. I will just share my experience about, specific subject. I can tell you over 3 years I've been doing it. Every time, maybe 4 or 5 times, I present globally, like to people face to face. I travel as well to do that presentation. Every time I'm on the stage or holding the mic, I my face goes so red. I shake. My voice starts shaking until I get into my rhythm. The first time I did not feel this. It was actually 2 weeks ago in Amsterdam. I was presenting at the World Drug Safety Congress, and I just felt so comfortable. And I was so happy because after that, I thought, oh, I'm not hot. I'm not red. I didn't shake. And the people in front of me that I told them, look, guys, I might shake, some of the attendees, and they said, you are perfect. You were like us, like you're talking to us. It's just that mindset that I'm talking to them. I'm chatting to them. I'm not presenting, they judge me. If I just get over that judgment, that what makes it easier for everyone.
Yeah, I think as well, one thing that is quite prevalent in females is that they can find it difficult to almost request recognition without feeling like they're bragging. And I think that is such a good way to kind of put yourself out there and receive that recognition by just sharing your experiences.
Exactly, exactly. Actually, that leads me to another thing. That's why it took me that long to get to where I am. I am really bad with negotiations. The end of year reviews, mid year reviews. I always rely on my manager to recognize me and give me the recognition, like, okay, there's a promotion and this and that. While others, they will go and ask for it, especially, male colleagues. And that's why you can see every year the notifications, the majority of the promoted people are male colleagues, not, the female colleagues. And the females, they take longer to get the promotion. That's how I've noticed.
I've actually seen a statistic about that before, and I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm sure that was one of the factors for the reason that there can sometimes be a gap in the pay between females and males because males will ask for the promotion, whereas females will hold off on doing that. And I think that is such a good point for if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. I agree. I fully agree. Yeah. And I notice that a lot. Even currently, in my workplace. If you don't ask, you don't get.
hmm So, in terms of, I know you've spoken before about the importance of being loud and trying to have your voice heard where you need to. How can women use their voices effectively? Because I know for some, they don't find it as easy going and speaking in big events or in front of big public spaces.
I think it's each personality. They need to find what is comfortable for them. I noticed that some of the females, for example, in a workplace, they find it easier to go uh, on social media, for example, or on LinkedIn. They can put their thoughts, feelings, experience there instead of that interaction. So they like to be interacted with electronically. I would advise all my, female colleagues, please go and find what is comfortable for you. let's not think about what others will think about us and judge us that, oh, okay, you're bragging. Because, the males, they brag a lot and they will tell a lot of things that they don't even know about. It's just they read it here and read it there. But when it comes to interviews and someone who knows technicality, they will fail. So we have to find something that, we can tell the people around us we're successful and we know what we're doing. Give us the chance. Just give us the chance. And then, as I mentioned, if they're not, comfortable to go with, a lot of audience, do it electronically. We are blessed with this now, electronic devices and the platforms we have. So we can go and show them how, what we have and what we are capable of.
And on the flip side of this, what would you say leaders can do to make it easier for those people to be heard?
Look us in the eyes.
Mhm.
I would love the leaders to show they're paying attention to us when we talk to them,
Yeah.
not looking at us as women. Look at
Hmm.
us in the eyes and talk to us as equal.
Hmm. I feel like that would be such a good way to kind of get into understanding as well. When you look
Yes,
someone in the eye, you actually really understand their perspective and you can almost put yourselves in their shoes.
exactly. Exactly. Yes.
So I know that you've also mentioned that ethics and doing the right thing are quite important to you. What would you say this looks like in practice, specifically in pharma?
Luckily, pharma is very highly regulated industry, so we have to be ethical, and we are, dealing with patients. We're dealing with human beings, and I'm a patient. Everyone is a patient, so it's always um, there are rules. There are, the law, the regulations, legislations. There's a lot of things. But if you choose to do the wrong thing, there's always a leeway to do the wrong thing. But luckily, where I work and I worked, we always put ethics the first thing. But sometimes it's just the pressure of the work. You might, choose the easy option,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I struggle with. I cannot
Mm-hmm.
take the easy option. I always have to say it as it is. I have to raise awareness about if there's something wrong. I have to raise awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been, accepted by, everyone
Mm-hmm.
in the past. Actually created some challenges for me in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's it. It cost me my job, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I was so ethical, and I just said, I thought, I don't care. I really want this to be corrected. This is wrong. And but I've gone over that, and I'm in a much better place. This company is much better, very ethical, and they always remind us, patient, we're here for the patient. So yeah, it's much better. But yeah, being ethical is not easy.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like ethics and leadership as well, a lot of people would use that sometimes to get to the top. And like you said, if you want to do something a bit quicker or if you want to take the easy route.
Yes, you're right. But if you can have it in you, like this courage to say, no, I'm not doing it. The law says so and so. If you want to do it that wrong way or the short way and put the company at risk and the reputation of the company at risk, it's under you, not me. I would never sign or put my name on something like that.
Hmm. Have you always been able to stay true to those values, or do you think you've developed that as you've gone throughout your career and you've kind of understood the impact that they might have?
Always had it. And I always
Amazing.
had problems.
Yeah.
Because, it's a different industries I worked at. So I always challenged, the
Hmm.
status quo. And it's just I didn't want to do it incorrectly. It has to be
Hmm.
done correctly.
So, in terms of this, is going a little bit off topic now. I know that AI is so hot topic at the moment, and I feel like that could come into ethics quite a lot in terms of taking the easy route and using it to almost streamline. your tasks. Is that an issue in pharma?
It is for now because AI, as you mentioned, is very new and it's still, we can't use it completely in pharma, especially in drug safety. We have, we call it the machine learning. So whatever we have as a databases and systems, we have to teach them. We have to put the information there and then we can rely on them to do it. But the human factor will never go away. We always, because we're dealing with safety and medical conditions and medical history, other medications. The AI or machine learning, they can speed things up for us. They can get the information from different sources to us, but the analysis and the final decision is us as humans. We have to do that.
Yeah. And I think people will be very glad to hear that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, jobs are going to continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in your experience, what would you say the biggest kind of issue that pharma struggles with?
Sharing information. The pharma industry, it's a business, so it's very highly competitive and everything is me, my company and it's secret and they don't want to share if that, for example, a clinical trial failed. They don't share it with the others to save the others the money, the time, and the patients that they are waiting, especially for rare disease. They don't have a lot of treatments. Maybe it's only one actually, and that one failed in the clinical trials. If they share it with the other companies, which actually our company did, saved the other company years of research and the patients saved them years of waiting to get treatment. If that is going to be global for everyone, that everybody will be happier.
Yeah, and you can target so much more research if that was the case as well.
Exactly, exactly. Yes.
How would you propose that? This is a big question, that companies take that step towards doing that? Because I feel like it might be quite difficult balancing patient confidentiality and sharing knowledge.
It's nothing to do with the patient confidentiality. It's data, just numbers. It's numbers. It's nothing to do. You will never be able to identify the patient, or even the hospital that treated the patient. Nothing like that. It's only numbers. But it needs a big decision from seniors, really, the C-suite, we call them. They have to, because it's all about share prices as well and the financial benefits, their reputation in the market. It's how they are perceived within the industry as well. Unfortunately, they are still afraid or worried that people will think they're losers because they did not, progress that clinical trial. The news will go out, but it's not doesn't mean that you're a failure. No, we're trying. That's why it's called a trial. We're trying. But if you share it with the others, at least both of you, you're saving time and money that you can invest in a different research as well and look after patients more. But it's still it's that overview of or the view of sharing the information and the share price and this reputation that needs to be looked at from the C-suite people.
Have you seen an example where sharing knowledge has made a big impact?
Yes, actually, yeah. The company, the current company I work for, they had a clinical trial and failed, and then they shared the information with another company that is running similar clinical trial, and they told them, look, we made these mistakes here. These are for example, the lab results that we had. Try to avoid it so you can get better results. And actually, the other company progressed successfully in their trial.
I feel like it's those stories as well that you kind of need to be hearing more of to inspire more companies to be doing the same and it be a domino effect.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, but Small companies or small, they're not looked at as much as the big names in the industry. So that's why, yeah, as you mentioned, this story needs to be shared more, and tell them, look, even if a small company that is actually impacted by the reduction of their share price hugely is doing it. So don't be don't be afraid. Don't worry. It's good for you in the long run.
And what would you say your favourite thing is about working in this industry?
The speed, the
The speed.
adrenaline.
Yeah.
I like it because you cannot expect what your day is going to be. You can't, sometimes your to-do list, you don't touch it.
Yeah.
Things are happening, and I like it. It keeps
Mhm.
me, moving and my brain engaged all the time.
Yeah. And in terms of success, if we look to the future, what would you say that looks like for you? And how would you say that that definition has changed over time?
I always wanted to share knowledge. And for me in the future, I would love to have like training program for young students, like the teenagers between the age of 14 to 16, to inspire them to become part of this industry, because you can be with any background to be part of this journey. Having a product into the market and seeing its effect on patients and how happy the patients are after starting that, it's the best feeling when you see, patient being able to walk after, a few years not able to walk without a stick or without a frame. Things, it's just even the quality of life improvement. So for me, I would love to pass my knowledge and inspire the new generation that there's a huge world there out for you. Don't worry. I feel like, I've seen the anxiety in that age group before GCSEs, during A level, because they don't know what they want to do and they don't know where they're going to end up. And I would love to have that program somewhere within, the education system. I don't know how, but I will think about it.
I think as well, at 16 or 18, you basically have to decide your whole future because, unlike some other countries, you're doing one subject for the entire 3, 4 year university course. So it might be a nice idea as well, once you finish university, having a sort of program because you obviously switched from engineering to pharma. So it's quite nice to give students who are probably in such an impressionable point where they kind of feel a bit lost finishing university. I know that I was, and I did physics. So as soon as I finished my degree, I was a bit like, right, what do I do with that now? So that could be a fun option as well.
Can I ask you a question
Yeah, of
about
course.
physics? Don't you think that after you finished your degree, your problem solving is different and your approach is different?
100%. And I think because I did pure physics, it was primarily like maths. So you're faced with so many equations and different ways to solve mathematical problems that you don't actually see them in your everyday jobs. And I actually didn't want to go into a physics role following university. The whole reason I picked it wasn't because I knew that I'd be able to apply it during the degree. It's almost for like a status thing in terms of if you have a physics degree, employers would look at you and think, okay, she's got a physics degree, she can apply that sort of thinking to other roles. So that's where I kind of looked at the route.
Yeah,
But I think the main thing that it taught was the transferable skills.
definitely.
So, yeah, I know quantum. I haven't thought about that since my last degree, my last year at uni.
Yeah,
But I think it's the different ways of thinking that you can
yeah,
apply to different jobs then.
exactly, exactly. That's, because engineering, electrical engineering is mostly maths and physics. So that's what helped me. It's just how I look at a problem, and nothing makes me, or phases me, out, or scares me. I know that I can find a solution for anything.
So, what would you say to students maybe coming out of university or people starting off in their careers? Because I know one thing I struggled with was when you're looking at job kind of applications and they
Mm.
have a whole list of criteria and you don't necessarily tick every single box. What would you say to those people? Because I think it puts a lot of people off applying.
I would say just go for it because some employers will look into certain things. And then sometimes, at least for me now, I always tell the recruiting agent or HR, have a call with them. I don't want to stop everyone. We invest time. We call all of them. During that conversation, we can tell if that person is able to, learn new skills or bring that, transferable skills to the table, and we can train them. I always believe that I can train someone if that someone is willing to learn, and for me, fast enough because the speed of my job. And that's what I did actually. I always take, juniors and I work with them, and they are now actually, from my previous role, I had fresh out of uni, and they are directors now. So I'm really proud of them and I'm happy because you can always teach how to do things, but you can't teach the culture and how they approach things, their personality. That's what I look for when I recruit. And I say, just apply. Don't worry. But the secret is do your homework about that company. No, don't apply just for the sake of a job. Try to see if there is any chance that you will be accepted, and even if half of the skills that they are asking for is matching and is good, so there is like hopefully we'll go there. But again, AI is putting a lot of pressure on people because unfortunately recruiters are using it now for to screen and shortlist CVs. So if you don't hit the certain words, uh, you will not be shortlisted. And actually, we are missing on talent. I believe we are missing on good talent because of that.
And what would you say would be the most important kind of traits that you look for? If you were going to hire someone, what are the most important um, kind of personality traits that belong in a workplace?
Honesty.
Honesty.
For me, I want someone who's honest. If they make a mistake, let them tell me it's okay. I'm not, they're not children, we're all adults. So I'm not going to penalize them with anything. I want honesty. And I want honesty as well, even during the interview. Not to say, oh, yeah, I've done it, or yeah, I know how to do it. And then when we accept them, we face the challenge that they've never seen it before. And you can tell.
I think that's such an important point to make as well, because in terms of mistakes, you never want to view those as failures. They should always be viewed as learning opportunities. And if you have that approach of honesty, then you're much more like everyone makes mistakes. So you're never going to be able to erase those. But then you can make it more likely that you can solve them together or approach it without the anxiety and the additional worrying of, oh my goodness, what is this going to cost me?
Yes, exactly. And actually, this is linked to our industry. We have audits and inspections, so the governments will come and inspect us. A lot of people see it as stressful, and I always get excited about it. And I say, "Oh, yes, it's a chance for us to for improvement." I always look at it positively. And again, I don't hide anything from the inspectors or the auditors, even if I know it's wrong. And I say, okay, we've done it wrong, we made a mistake here, and this is how we're going to correct it. And sometimes it opens a conversation with the auditors or the inspectors to give us an advice. And instead of us spending 6 months to fix something, they will say, oh, wait, did you think about it this way? And then, oh, actually, yes. So again, it's applicable to every, honesty applicable to all different type of jobs, all every day. It's an everyday thing. If we are not scared of telling the truth, that is the main thing.
I think this comes back to collaborating as well, doesn't it? in
Yes.
terms of if you're just open with aiming to do better.
Yes, exactly.
Full
Yeah, yeah.
circle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Let's just get on with it. And sometimes, these mistakes actually improves the whole team
Hmm.
performance because we identify actually there's a gap.
Hmm.
And that mistake happened because of the gap. So we
Hmm.
need to close that gap.
Yeah.
So again, opportunity for learning and improvement.
Hmm. So, Zina, if there was one thing that you wanted people to remember from this conversation, what would that be?
Don't be afraid.
Hmm.
Go out, find your platform, how to go out and tell people your story
Hmm.
and tell them how good you are in your job.
I feel like that's a brilliant way to end the podcast. I think it summarizes everything that we've discussed from leadership and ethics to collaboration. So, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you for having me. It was lovely chat.